Hello and welcome to Dancer Support Mission by Sabine for Shine Your Light. We have a new episode of Dancer to Dancer Words of Wisdom today. And this platform was created to meet the person behind the dancer and share with you all not only the highlights of someone's career, but also the challenges behind the scenes. Truly, my wish is to bring healing into the dance world, dancing to heal, healing to dance. One artist at a time and one personal story at a time. I do believe that storytelling gives us an opportunity to learn from another person's experience, and it can shape, strengthen, or challenge our opinions and values. Hopefully, this will allow you to embark or reflect on your own personal healing journey inspired by others' experiences. And of course, if you find those interviews valuable and interesting, please share them with your friends. So today I am delighted to welcome Giuseppe de Ruggiero. Giuseppe, we've met a long time ago. We've done several places actually together in our long career. So welcome. Thank you for taking the time because I know you're very busy. And I'm super excited to hear everything about your story. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for asking me to do this. Is great. Yes, I try to explain my career in short time in my life.
In a nutshell.
Yes. Well, to start with, I started dancing by accident, basically. I had a problem with my physique when I was very young, and my shoulder blades were completely out, like little wings, and I had a hole in my chest. And the doctor said that I should go swimming and to develop my back muscles and stuff like that. But my parents couldn't bring me to swim because it was far away from where we live. And my sister was doing ballet at the time. I have a sister who is older than me. And the doctor said, well, you could try because it's good for the posture. So at least, you're going to develop this. And I went to class, and funny enough, the very first class I did, I fell in love with dancing. I was mesmerized. I really liked it. So that's how it started. And I went on like that.
So how old were you, Giuseppe, then?
I was 7 years old.
Okay. All right.
I was 7. So the school was run by June Gallagher at the time, and she was British, and it was one of the 4 schools in Rimini at that time where I live now and where I was at that time. I did my old, percorso, they say, the travel of any dancer who start young. But at one point in time, we were very good friends with the group, and we were spending our whole time in the studio. Instead of going out as teenagers to clubs and stuff like that, we would meet in the ballet school because one of our friends was the daughter of the teacher. And we would spend our afternoon and evenings in the ballet school doing variations and whatever came to our mind, stuff like that. So there really started my big passion. And one day I've got my first ballet video at home, and it was the Don Quixote with Baryshnikov. And that day I decided I was going to be a professional dancer. I thought I have to do this as a profession.
So how old were you then? So how old were you when you had that
video? I was around 13, 14. And then, so my teacher said, okay, just prove it to me. You can do this. And then, I'm happy to help you. I met a few people in stages that came to the school, and some of them said, yes, you can become a dancer. And I got offered a place in Mudra. At the time, Bejar was in Brussels still.
Mm-hmm.
That
was the good old days, right, of Mudra. This time was a great time, right?
It was a great time. I love that time. Was beautiful. I know a lot of dancers who came from their friends, and it was a very beautiful time. But in my heart, I felt a little bit more ballet, a bit more classical. So I, through another dance teacher we had, he proposed to go to Rosella Hightower in Cannes. So at 17, I finished my school. I did my exam because I started school a year earlier because I'm born in January. So, or I miss a year or I started a year earlier. So I started a year earlier, 17 in June, I did the exam. And the next day I was already in the car. I went to Rosella Hightower and I said, can I take class? She said, yes. I went in at 11, 12, 15, I was out, 12:30. She says to me, you're in. And so I said, okay, when I come back. And she goes, no, you start today. I was like, what do you mean start today? I don't have anything with me. And she goes, no, you start today. You're going to wash your pants, your ballet clothes every day. So she gave me a bedroom in the place where she kept some of the boys.
Okay.
We were like 12 in.
Was that a boarding school or was it a house?
It was the house of Rosella Hightower. She had a villa, and underneath she made like an apartment.
Oh, great.
There was no kitchen; it was only bathroom and bed. And a lot of boys who didn't have much money to pay the school would sleep there, and we would work 25 hours a week in the kitchen, and cleaning and doing stuff. So we would pay the school by doing that. So
that's a lot of hours, 25 hours plus all the training.
Yeah. So at 6:45, I was outside of the school, taking everything out of the truck for the lunch, fruits and veggies and stuff, and then we would start prepare the food for 130 people basically, because the school at the time had that many internet. Then, luckily enough, after plus minus 6 months, even less, maybe 4 months, Rosella Hightower created a company, a semi-professional company who would dance all over France and other places if it was necessary. And she put me in that company. So my work in the kitchen has become very little. And on the other hand, I was dancing many more hours. Yeah. So on top of everybody else's hours, I would do also the company work. And it was very interesting, very nice, of course. And that's I started at the age of 17 for 2 years. And then because I was in the company, when there was there has been a dance festival. The dance festival, so the people of the company could take class with the company who were there for the dance festival on stage before the shows. So I did all the classes, and a few days later they called the school, Rosella Hightower, and there was Scapino Ballet at the time. It was still in Amsterdam, even though it was called Scapino Ballet Rotterdam.
I didn't know you started in Scapino. I never knew that.
I started in Scapino, yes.
All right, okay.
And then they said, we are interested in this person. Can you send it to us? They pay my train ticket. I got there. They picked me up. They give me money because they were on tour. So they give me money to eat. I did audition just before the Nutcracker in Utrecht. And in the theater in Utrecht, and they give me the contract immediately afterwards.
So wait, they invite you to come, and then you do an audition later.
No, I did audition the same day.
Okay.
But in Utrecht, because that show in Utrecht.
Okay, sorry.
For the Nutcracker, and so I did class on stage with them, and then at the time it was Armando Navarro, the director. And he offered me a contract. And so I said yes. And then basically next season I started in August. And I loved it. I immediately started also with soloist role. Funny enough, my first day they put me on soloist role. I had to do a duet. There was a ballet already made, and they changed the ballet to give me a duet, because they want me to perform, in this ballet. And they made a duet, and it was like my third show in the company. And I forgot to enter. I was watching from the wings, and then I was like, I see the girl all alone on stage. I'm going, no, ah! Big panic. And I started to run around the stage. I didn't know what to do, from where to enter and where to do. And then it was too late, basically. The mission was finished. And I thought, okay, that's it, my career is over. But they were very understanding with me. So my first soloist brawl at 19, I fucked it up.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. But I mean, it's great. I mean, you know, you were allowed to do mistakes. I mean, that's part of the job, huh? Too.
Yeah, but of course, you just arrive in the
I
company
know.
at 19 and all your dreams, and then you
And they make something for you, but you don't come in for it.
Yes, exactly. So I
Oh,
was
that's
there.
great.
Then you know how we are as a dancer, we don't like to be many days without dancing free, you know. And there was Queen's Day in Holland. And for whatever reason, with Scapino, we had 3 days off. We didn't kept on going dancing. And so I had friends on the Dutch National Ballet, and I had national, where then we eventually met. And I said, can I take class? So I asked Rudy Van Danzig at the time, that was the director. I said, may I take class for a couple of days because I'm a Scapino and at the moment there is no class. So he said, yeah, sure. So I did the class, and Rudy at one point walks in and he sits there and he watches, doesn't say anything. Then class is over, I take my stuff, I start to walk away, and he runs after me and he said, where are you going? Where are you going? I said, well, I'm going home. And he goes, no, can I talk to you 5 minutes? And he offered me a contract there and there on the spot. So
that's wonderful. So which year was that, Giuseppe? Because were you already in the company when I was there? I can't remember.
No, you arrived later.
I arrived later. Okay.
Cool. You arrived later.
Okay.
So I did the contract. I accept the contract, and at the time in Dutch National, you had to start
aspirant.
As an 11, then an aspirant, and then corps de ballet.
Okay.
And he put me directly into corps de ballet. And he said to me, I would have a contract, I would like to have a contract as a soloist for you, but I don't have free contracts. So I can give you a corps de ballet. You can skip the other 2 steps. I decided yes, because as I said before, I felt much more classical as a dancer than, and with Scapino, we did also classical role, but not as, we did Copelia, we did Nutcracker. It was actually a lot of fun. You know,
so how did you cut your contract? Did you finish the season with Scapino? Or
I finished the season.
Okay.
I finished the season. I will never forget the day I told Armando Navarro, he was the director, was so upset, and he was death. So I talked to him and I said, you know, listen, I got this contract and it's a little bit more of my dream to do this type of company. And he looked at me, he took off his earring and he put it on the table and he just looked at me and I was like, okay. He didn't talk to me for a month.
Oh, yeah, I can.
He was very upset, and every time he came to watch the shows, he came to me, and every time he says, "You know, I miss you." He was Scapino. But anyway, no, at the end it was like that. And yeah, then with Dutch National, I have a lot of. Funny enough, is my company. I don't know. Up to date is everything I have in my heart. And I was talking about this with somebody else, but not long ago. I today still at least 3 or 4 times a week dreams about Dutch National and dancing in the company and the people who were there. But everybody is imprinted in my body.
Wow.
It's really. I've really, for me, it was a family. I really.
So you left a little piece of your heart there somehow.
I left my piece of my heart there, even though it wasn't easy, because like every company, big company, you have to struggle, and you're not good with everybody. Of course, there's a lot of people, and my biggest
and very
problem,
often it's hard to be good with yourself when there is so many people as well, right?
Exactly. And yeah, I had in Dutch National, my biggest problem was that I got injured quite soon when I started. and I had a big injury. I ruptured my anterior cruciate ligament. And that's, for a dancer, is basically 1 year recovery to get back to dance at the level that is good enough to be in a company like that. And I was only 21. So that was a long recovery. And when I came back, I felt the pressure from some teachers, not all, but some teachers, to come back fast because they needed me to be dancing. And already, you know me, I have a very flamboyant and strong temperament. And I put a lot of pressure on myself.
Yeah.
One, because I wanted to dance. 2, because I felt that I was, in many ways, even though there is a lot of dancers needed, also I was paid. So, you have a responsibility. But that brought me to kept on getting injured because I didn't ever give enough time to fully recover. I recovered the injury, but the muscles and everything else around needs a lot more time to get very strong. And so I kept on having small injury, and that kept, and that built up kind of a frustration. Luckily enough, I was good with acting roles. So
with what?
With acting roles, character roles, like the big sister in Cinderella, and the king, and this, and Drosselmeyer, and so luckily for me, I was very good on that as well. So that kept me on stage, and that kept me going on with what I loved, even though I did a lot of soloist, even principal role in Dutch National. So, but I could have had a better career, I think, if I would have been better with my injury, because I could have built up with consistency everything else.
So would you say that this injury was your biggest challenge, both as a student and as a, within your whole career as a student, as a dancer?
These were my biggest challenge. And yes. And that's, I spent tons of hours in the physio, in the hospitals. And what is great, because I know we will do another chapter on this most likely, but what is great is now I bring all this experience to my students, and I lead them into when they have injuries and stuff like that. We help a lot on how to approach injuries and how to use them at their own benefits as well. So that's, I learned a lot from that.
And also work on the mental,
because of that.
Yeah, of course, the mental, I think, since you were pressured all the time to come back, then you don't have time to process either, right? And to do it in a,
In Dutch National, I have to say, there was one teacher who helped me a lot during the end of my rehab, because I was able to dance, but not yet in the company, also because I was very unstable still. So when you have a lot of people around who move phenomenally and you're not that great in that moment, you risk to get hit by people. And so fear comes in. So I had somebody help me with that in the studio privately. The difficult part is when I went back into class. I remember the first class, I have it imprinted in my brain. The first class I came in after a year, I go to the bar and I warm up, plie starts, and the first things the teacher said to me, turn out. And of course, my injury was on my knee, and the forcing that turned out, it wasn't the moment for me, and I felt so bad, and I got super frustrated. I left the studio that moment because I couldn't deal with it. And then
it's like then you don't feel supported, right, when you're trying to come. I mean, it's, and also to not to do any, not to excuse anybody, but it's true, as a teacher sometimes, and you're in a company, you have the dancers and they have to move, and you're not necessarily aware of everybody's injuries and whatever. But it's true, if you haven't been there for a year.
I need to ask you one thing. Can you pause?
Yes. So we're back. So Giuseppe, keep going. So we were into,
in that fact,
the hardship of coming back,
as a teacher, I realize sometimes it's very difficult. You also caught into your moment of dance, of teaching, and so it comes to as an instinct. And it was more my fear of that. then let's say I did the whole career in Dutch National, where I really, really loved, as I said before. At one point in time, a couple of things happened in the sense that I also started to get tired because this injury got me. So it was always running after certain things, so it cost me a lot of energy. But then,
so it's important to say this, actually, you know, for young people who are listening, is that it's super important to heal your injury properly, because otherwise it becomes chronic and it's like comes and bites you in, you know, in the back all the time, and then you can never really enjoy your career in the end, right?
Yes, and you know, they should learn how to to come back properly, to care of themselves, because sometimes we want to please the others and we want to push. But also, and something I didn't grow up with that, and I'm learning a lot, is to communicate. Because if I would have been maybe a bit more clear to the teacher and the ballet masters about my fear and how I felt still, probably I would have got much more support.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it. And so that's part of my
but
journey.
That's great, because then you can share that, and it's super important, you know, because as dancers, we think we cannot say anything because we don't want to miss anything. But sometimes, you know, it's better to miss one thing than 10 in the end.
Sometimes it's better one day longer injured and a week more at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I find fascinating with your story, Giuseppe, because I know a little bit about it, of course, is that you didn't only dance, you know, you just went off, as you say, you know, after Dutch National Ballet. I want you to tell us about this, because I think it's really inspiring for others, you know, to think, yeah, you can go away and come back as well, you know?
Yeah, yes, I did something strange. I was just getting there. And well, because it's also was the moment, because we had a big tragedy in Dutch National at one point in time. And that also affected me a lot. And so I decided to take a sabbatical year to leave. I asked the permission to leave for a year. And I went to Indonesia to scuba dive. Actually, I went to Indonesia to become a diving instructor. And I did. At the end, stood 1.5 years. I stood a little bit longer. And I loved it. Honestly, it's a lot in my heart. It was really, really beautiful. Again, it's a very heavy work. You wake up very early in the morning. You have to prepare everything. You have the responsibility.
And it's dangerous, right?
It's dangerous. I had the responsibility of the staff. I was operational manager, and of the clients, at the boats, where to go. But it's a wonderful thing. Every day you don't know what you're going to see or what's going to encounter or what's going to happen, and it's phenomenal. I've done in 1.5 years over 700 dives, and I've done about 600 hours in the swimming pool during this time. But it was phenomenal. I have also helped National Geographic to film a documentary with the diving school, not only our diving school, but also another diving school, because they wanted to see specific animal. And of course, only us, we know diving every day where to find that particular type of animal. And I actually, when I worked with National Geographic, I even got an award because I helped somebody to regain his diving license, because it was with the expedition. And they found me extremely professional and a high quality standard. So they reported my name to the headquarters of the Diving Association, and I got a letter of that and a reward basically because of that. So
nice, wonderful. It's like, you know, the discipline we learn as ballet dancer and everything that helps us focus. It's such a plus for anything else that we can do afterwards, right?
And that's things we need to learn as a dancer, that we have such a power, that learning to be focused for so many hours. Most people after 20 minutes can't concentrate anymore, and we learn to do this for hours at the time under pressure. I think everything is done in my life is seems so easy because of dancing. But let's say after a year and a half, I went back to Holland, with a lot of doubts. It was also because I left Holland, that I had a girlfriend and I was still in love with her, so I decided to go back. Of course, it's finished. Of course, what did I expect? But anyway, you know. But when I went back to Holland, I decided to, of course, stop dancing. At that moment, it was already a year and a half. I wasn't dancing anymore, and I wanted to move on a little bit.
So
I went to a school.
when you prolonged your stay in Indonesia, you knew that you were not going to dance?
I couldn't dance anymore because the sabbatical was only a year. So basically, at that point, I knew already that
you took a risk. You was like, you know, okay,
but
you
also
took a decision,
super well.
Right?
Exactly, I was super well when I was at that moment, super happy. So it was an easy decision in between brackets, because it's part, it's my life. Dancing is my life. I always will be a dancer. So when I came back to Holland, I went to school. You know, luckily with Holland has this beautiful system of that is homeschooling.
Yeah.
That for 4 years they continue to pay your salary, so you don't have to work and other things, but you can focus on studying to reintegrate in society, since you had done a full career so young. And so I took this opportunity and I went to a school of furniture building, meubelmakerij, but all done by hand. So it's all like old fashioned, like, you know, like the old masters would do. No screw, everything's
not IKEA, right?
Not IKEA. Yeah, that was one of the biggest insults they used to give you if you did something wrong. They said it looks like IKEA, and I was like, no, IKEA. No. But of course, it was a different level of furniture building. From there, at one point after 2 years, I had to make a decision, and I went into yacht building. So I started to build sailing boats by hand, from scratch, wooden, everything. So I would do everything. So of the sailing boats, and basically did 4 years of that. But in between this moment, I thought, you know, I never finished my career with the last show. So there was, in my first ballet school where I started in Rimini, there was a stage with a teacher called Philip Bimish, and at the time he was just working also in Scala with Ferri. And he was doing the summer course of 2 weeks, and then at the end of these 2 weeks they were doing a show. And so I thought, okay, it's so many years I don't dance, but I said, you know, to do a show in a square in my city in Italy, I will be good enough, and I will give a closure. So I came back. I did 2 weeks of training with such a pain, because of course came back dancing is not so. And I did a show. And the guy said to me, you know, would you like to go back dancing? I said, no. I said, no, listen, really, Phillips, I'm studying, I'm doing my furniture building, and now I'm at the last year to do, and then, you know, that's it. Okay.
So how old were you, Giuseppe, then? How old were you?
Then I was 33.
Wow, yeah, that's
33 or 34.
amazing. Yeah.
So it waits a year, and then he calls me and he goes, so, you know, I'm in Amsterdam today. It was in Amsterdam that day. And he says, I'm in Amsterdam today to see a friend of mine, that is also a friend of yours. And he said, do you want to have dinner together? I was like, yeah, of course. So me and Sandra, that's now my wife, that we just met, actually. We were just together, like 2 months, 3 months, something like that. We went to dinner, and he kind of waited. I drank a lot enough end of the dinner, and then he goes, you remember, after your job, I actually need some soloist in Canada, in Winnipeg. Would be interested. And you know, apparently my face light up, and Sandra said, we're coming. And I was like,
go put your shoes back on and let's train.
And I was like, no, you know, and of course the thought was very strong, and Sandra said, no, I saw your face, we need to go. I said, okay, let me think. But at the end, I decided to take the contract. And so after 5.5 years not dancing, I went to Winnipeg in Canada to dance with the Royal Winnipeg Ballet. And I was supposed to start in September. And the director at that time called me and he goes, it was June. And he goes, yeah, I need you here earlier. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, I need to come a month earlier because we are putting together a new ballet and I would like you to start working on this ballet.
That was Cinderella, right?
That was Cinderella's story. And so I went and it was me, a new guy, a Mexican guy, Jaime Vargas.
Oh, yeah.
We arrived together. He arrived from Mexico and I arrived from Europe. And we, in the beginning, we were in the same hotel. Then we helped each other to find houses. Then we found a house next to each other. So we went to live one in an apartment, one in there. And we started to work for this show, but it was for the principal role. And I said, the director said to me, no, it's not so difficult. He says, there is partnering. There's a lot of partnering. I said, okay, well, we start. Honestly, I couldn't walk anymore and I couldn't eat. Sandra, she was giving me food in the restaurant. She was feeding me because my hands get cramped because doing pas de deux after 5 years, I had no strength in my hands anymore. So I was like this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, so for a month I didn't walk basically. I could dance and that's it. That was then. And then the choreographer put me first cast with Cindy Marie at the time. But I was not supposed to be first cast, I was supposed to be Jaime. And I even said, you know, guys, it's 5 years I'm not dancing.
Well, it was definitely a role for you, huh, Giuseppe,
a little bit more time
right?
because it's tough.
Yeah, it was.
And so the choreographer Valcani Paroli, the San Francisco Ballet, he said, no, I want you dance the premiere. And it wasn't easy because technically it was super high. It was super fast as a speed. And it was a tough start. It was a tough start.
Yeah.
And of course, this has brought me to injure again. And I ruptured the other cross ligament, my left knee. I did the premiere with a ruptured ligament taped.
Wow.
And I struggled all year with injuries because, of course. And so, of course, that was really the end of my career. The direction, of course, couldn't deal with me having the injury for so long. And at the end, the career finished there with a nice memory because I did a lot of nice things in the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, including, of course, Cinderella's story, who was a great success at the end of the day. It was really nice. But again, coming back too fast. And that's why I asked not to dance it, but of course they said no.
So this is how you ended up your career, basically, with this Cinderella.
Yes.
You know, it's actually a very beautiful story. In any case, you know, I think it's wonderful. Giuseppe, I feel we could talk for another hour, but you know, I mean, it's.
I tell you just one little thing. So when I stopped dancing, what I did, I needed to go. So I become a fitness model.
Yeah, I remember that.
And within 4 months, I became a world champion in Toronto in 2006.
I remember the meat diet, you know, like you were
diet every day for 5 years. And then I became a professional fitness model. So that was, then I came back to Italy. Honestly, when I was in Canada at the end, Sandra, my wife, she was teaching the adults in the RWB, but at one point somehow that stopped, and the adults wanted to dance. Sandra didn't have time, so I said, okay, if you find a place, I will teach you. And that was my first teaching experience. And like when I started dancing, I thought, wow, I love teaching. I didn't think so. And so from there, I started teaching. So when I came to Italy, I started to teach. Then I came back to Italy.
Wonderful.
And now we have School of Dance.
This is fascinating. I love it. So, but anyway, you have to give me, because we're gonna have to close. Just give me very
Yes.
quickly, what would be one advice that you would give a young dancer today? You know.
Okay. First of all, learn to be versatile.
Yeah,
How you say?
versatile,
Versatile. Because in our days there is so many things we can do, and the more we can embrace, the better it is. Because also that's open a lot of doors for them. And like I was saying before, take care of yourself for your body, because you have that, and that is your instrument. It's like taking care of a violin or a flute, or you know, it has to be kept properly. And communicate. Really learn to communicate. We come from a generation where we didn't talk to the teachers, but I think in our days,
Giuseppe, I don't want to cut you, but we're going to talk about this with Sandra, because we have another thing. So we want, I really want to talk about all this. Communicate and be versatile, because I don't want to be cut by the
No,
goal,
I know.
you know.
I know.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
To hear
I
your
hope I
beautiful
helped
story.
everybody.
Thank you, Giuseppe.
Thank you.